Thank you for passing by the Podster Pop-Up Studio at Step 2024. This is day 2. Tell me, how are you and what were you moderating? Was it a session? Was it a mental lounge? What did you do?
Hi, I'm super happy to be here, super excited. The energy is amazing. You asked me how I am. I'm on cloud 9 because I love the energy of Step. And I was on a panel on burnout and stress because it's a big thing for entrepreneurs.
I know this year Step is bringing a lot about mental health, well-being, and awareness about the issues that you can have as an entrepreneur. So tell me, what was the major insight in the session that you were moderating about the burnout? Why is it coming into? So why do entrepreneurs burn out so fast?
Yeah, so for many, many reasons. So 72% of entrepreneurs experience burnout at one point in their journey. And there are many core reasons for that. One of the reasons is because they initially start super excited with their why, their purpose. And then when they start their journey, they start doing things that have nothing to do with their core strength, with their core purpose. So that creates burnout because they lose the interest in the big dream and the big why. Overwhelm is another reason. Heavy demands, heavy pressure is also a reason. Co-founder conflict and lack of alignment causes so much burnout and stress for entrepreneurs. So it's a big area that's growing, and I'm super proud of Step for having a wellness
lounge. I think it's the entire section of the agenda that is dedicated to wellness this year. So I think it has become either a big thing or so the statistics that you've just said, like 72% of entrepreneurs are experiencing the burnout, right? So, but let's talk a little bit more about the disconnecting with the purpose. Why do you think it happens? Because usually a founder or entrepreneur is the person who is like really passionate about the idea that they're bringing into.
It happens because when you are stepping into your purpose, so there are 3 elements of the purpose journey. There is your why, there is the how, which is what makes you super unique, and that includes your values and your key strength. And the last but not least, what you are doing. So these are the services that you are offering. And what happens with entrepreneurs is they become so focused on the actual product and service, they lose sight of the big picture. And they get stuck in the delivery of the actual service, they get stuck in operations, they get stuck in the technicalities.
So how do you, with your business, let's say, with your mission, with your services, how do you help this ecosystem and entrepreneurs to overcome, let's say, a burnout, or probably be more sustainable in their overall activity?
So we are a coaching marketplace, and we provide founders and leaders and corporates with access to coaches. We have about 700 coaches on our platform that are dedicated in different spaces. So for example, if somebody is burning out and they need to speak to specifically a burnout coach, we would offer that. If they want to speak to a coach in a different area, we would also offer that. So we offer coaches. We also do group coaching if they need more knowledge sharing and training. And last but not least, we are very unique in something that we deliver that nobody else delivers, which is doing a purpose discovery. And when a founder comes to us to identify their purpose, they walk away from a 3 to 4 hour session with a very clearly articulated why, how, and what that they can use as their guiding principle as they operate. And that's important for personal branding. It's important for the branding of the business. It's important so they can use it as their North Star all the time. Are we aligned with that, or are we not aligned with that together as a team, as co-founders and as leaders?
And so how did you come to creating that platform, and what are the inquiries that are usually entrepreneurs are coming to you with? So can you just mention the specific inquiries?
Sure. So I have had coaching myself. At one point I worked for a corporate, and I was very blessed and lucky because I was on the talent pool, and because I was on the talent pool, they allocated a coach to me for a period of 2 years, and that was life-changing for me. So I am a huge believer in the power of coaching, so I became a coach myself. And then at one point I was coaching within a specific platform, and I had a co-founder come to me and say, our company is about to collapse. I cannot stand my co-founder. We can't see eye to eye on anything. We're not aligned on anything. Can you please help us together? There are marriage counselors out there, but nobody's helping co-founders together. So that platform that I was with at the time did not have that service. And so I went on Google and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Who offers that? And I did a lot of research in that space. Who's helping the founder today? Within the corporate sector, they offer you coaching, but within the startup scene and scale-up scene, nobody's helping the founder. And the founders are the most purpose-driven individuals.
For sure.
They're the dreamers. And they're the ones that need to be supported the most. And I really, really want to see businesses grow. And the only way businesses grow is when they grow as individuals. And so that's why I was super passionate about this and I wanted to start it.
But what kind of sort of attributes from that perspective help founders to overcome, for example, this specific situation that you mentioned? So let's say two co-founders cannot find the common ground, they argue, or for example, nothing is aligned, as you mentioned. So what do they need to do, or who do they need to speak to be able to get through that difficult path?
So they would either speak to a co-founder relationship coach, or they would speak with a purpose coach, or both, a combo of both. Because I think when they are misaligned, it's because they're not aligned on the direction. They're either not aligned on the how, or the why, or the what. And so I think going back to the drawing board, if they haven't done that exercise, and I would encourage all founders to do that, if they haven't done that, we go back to the drawing board, we do that exercise, and then they would follow up by seeing a co-founder relationship coach.
Interesting. So it's the first time, honestly, I hear the co-founder relationship coach. Yeah. It really sounds like a therapist for entrepreneurs. Tell me how it works. I mean, is it like several sessions? Do they like get on a course? Do they do the workshops? How does this work?
So within our company, we only work with people for a minimum of 3 months because that's when you can really see the change. So that's how we start. And we actually start by understanding the individual first and foremost before we work with them as a team. Because when you have a team dynamic or a team relationship issue, it's often because the two members or the team are triggering each other. And when people are being triggered, it's important for them to actually work on their trigger, work on themselves first and foremost before you start working on the unit. And then we work on the unit. So we do a combo of group coaching, but also individual coaching, depending on the needs and the severity of the situation. And there are times when co-founders split, and that's also okay. That's very healthy for the organization, because if they're not aligned, sometimes a split is the right thing to go, and other times they don't need to split. They just need to realign on their purpose and on their why and how and what. Or they need to learn to work on themselves and on their own triggers.
So let's say, most of the entrepreneurs who are coming to you have got a problem in moving forward. So let's put it this way. Are there any other inquiries? Like, do they want anything else when they come to your platform, or do they contact you directly? So I don't know, is it something related to marketing, business, or you have a specific niche linked to the way forward kind of?
Yeah, our biggest niche is scale-ups and corporates. But within the scale-ups and corporates, we accompany the scale-ups on all aspects of their journey. So it could be that they need a marketing coach at one point in their life, or it could be that they need a relationship coach, or they need a leadership coach, because they, for example, if you look at the Saudi ecosystem, they're growing at massive scale. And all of a sudden, the manager becomes the leader of a huge team, and they've never taken leadership courses. They've never been on a leadership journey, or they've had coaching. So they come to us to get coached on how to become better leaders. So it just depends on where they're at in their journey. There are people who are even done their business and they want to exit their business, and they need an exit coach. So we have coaches that are specialized in all aspects of the journey, and we connect them with the right coach depending on what they need.
And how do you work with the coaches? How do you find the right coaches? How do you sort of onboard them on your platform? And what is your sort of business model working with them?
So our business model is a subscription-based business model. So we charge everybody for generic coaching, unless it's very, very like elite coaching. For generic coaching, we charge everybody the same all over the world. And it's a subscription-based model where they pay online. It's super simple. It's through Stripe. no complications. We find our coaches because I have a huge network of coaches across all disciplines, and I have a community of coaches. And all of the coaches that we work with are vetted. They're all ICF certified, because it's important. There are a lot of coaches out there who name themselves as coaches, and they can actually do more damage than help.
That's what I wanted to ask. So the amount of coaches nowadays is really big, and yes, how do you make sure that you are onboarding the ones that are really helpful?
We only onboard, unless sometimes you may get it wrong, by the way. We're not saints. Sometimes you have the right coaches and the chemistry is not there between people, and so you get it wrong. There's nothing wrong with the coach or the person, it's just that the chemistry is not there. But to make sure that we get the right coaches on board, all our coaches are ICF certified and they're all vetted. The other thing that I do is I'm a member of... there's a doctor that I studied with. His name is Dr. Gabor Mate. They have a school called Compassionate Inquiry. And to get into that, you need to be a certified coach or a therapist or a doctor. And sometimes entrepreneurs need therapy more than coaching. And in that case, I have access to the pool of Dr. Gabor Mate's Compassionate Inquiry. I can loop the right people in. And these are already vetted, because to have gone through that school for a 2-year period, you're already vetted. So we really find the right people, but even if you do, sometimes the chemistry is not there. And the beauty about the coaching marketplace is that when it's not right, you could switch right away. You have the option of switching coaches, which you don't naturally have the luxury to do when you're working with a coach one-on-one, because it's just that coach, and they're not specialized in different aspects of the company's journey, and you can't necessarily switch right away. So I think that's what makes us unique.
Interesting. So what do you think, what is important for, let's say, when you were, since you're working with coaches, and you've got a good eye on different expertise. So how important is something like a media brand or media presence for each and every coaches? And does it add value, or does it unpack if the coach, for example, is not really professional?
I think it's super important. And I think what you're doing is incredible, because I think coaches have a hard time selling themselves.
Yeah.
They are so deeply wanting to make impact in the world and helping others that they forget about themselves. And a lot of coaches are finally waking up to the fact that, you know what, I'm not going to get business, because there's tons of coaches out there. But the only thing that would differentiate me from other coaches is if I differentiate my personal brand. Having the right social media presence, working with you on podcasting, just going out there and getting the right target audience is really, really important. And I'm a big believer in personal branding. I've worked on building my own brand, and it's hard work, but it's so worth it.
What are the right attributes of the personal branding? So how can one personal branding be different from another, let's say, when it comes to two coaches, let's say, in psychology, or let's say in marketing? So let's take marketing, for example.
Yeah. So for me, personal branding is always guided in your purpose and in your niche and in creating an experience for the individual who's working with you. If I say, for example, that I value authenticity, but you leave this booth and I do the opposite of that, that's not creating an experience with me that is credible. So coaches who need to create a personal brand need to be credible. They need to walk the talk. They need to be clear on their values, on their brand, on their purpose, and on their niche. And I think what I see with a lot of coaches out there is that they're not very clear on their niche, and that's when they get it wrong. They want to talk to everybody at the same time, and I think having a clear niche is very, very important, so that you can talk to your niche using their words, their issues, so you can understand their journey. So when you are out there on social media or doing podcasting, you're very focused on your area.
Yeah, that's right. I think you one thing, you're focused on the area of your expertise. Another thing, podcasting is a format that allows you to tell your story or to listen to somebody else's story. And it's in a very sort of emotionally connected way. So that's why I think interviews specifically are becoming so powerful from the perspective of a sustainable way to create content, but at the same time to unpack the personal brand.
I love that. And you mentioned telling the story. Our company is called Stories.
Wow.
And the reason why it's called Stories is because of my personal story and my personal history. I won't go into that right now.
No, please.
You want me to?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
So I was raised in a war zone, and I would look outside every day and see buildings fall and people die in front of me. And I'd say, what is the purpose of this? And what remains after they're gone? And the truth is, what remains after you're gone is your story. And that's why the power of digital presence and the power of podcasting is so, so important, because your story remains when you're gone. So the stories you tell the world matter, and the stories you tell yourself inside your brain matter even more. And so for me, it all starts from within, and then it's shown externally to the public through the power of story.
Can one person, let's say, have let's say, a couple of authentic stories, or is it always linked to one and only purpose of this person to be here?
Yeah, we believe that every person has one purpose to live by, but that purpose is found through a connection of all of your stories. So if you actually step back and look at your top 10, for example, defining moments in your life, both positive and negative, and you look for the common pattern between all of these stories, you'll be able to connect back and find your purpose. The other way you can find your purpose is by connecting to your most recurring pain, solving that for yourself first and foremost, and then solving it for others. So I think you can have many, many, many stories, but I promise you, if I sat here and listened to 5 of your stories, I'll be able to find a common theme from all of your stories, and I'll be able to extract your purpose from that.
And so what side of the story would you bring out to the digital media online space to start with, if we're talking about like the right personal brand, the right way to get into the media journey? And I really, really hear what you're saying about multiple stories being linked eventually.
Yes.
To one, that authentic purpose that you really have, but probably you're not completely aware of it. Yes. So, and through these stories, you can probably unpack that purpose. But what side
do you start with?
Would you start with?
I would start with the one that you're most connected with, and the one that you're most authentic about, because people can see through you. When you are sharing a story that is not true, or that's not authentic, or that you're not passionate about, people will see through that. So I would start with that, and I would link that to my business. You know, I'm not going to sit here and talk about my cat if that doesn't link with my business. I may have a story about my cat, and that may be impactful and nice, but if it doesn't link with my business, it wouldn't serve me very much, right? So for the sake of personal branding, start with the story that connects the most with your business and hook with the pain point. Try to understand your audience, what are their top pain points, and connect with pain, and then sell a dream.
And I think that's where the coaching is really helping people to connect, let's say, one of their stories to the actual business opportunity, or to something that people can buy from you, or something that you can bring value to, and at the same time build a business around. Because I think that's another aspect. People might have a story, they might have a purpose, they might have an understanding of what potential business they can do, but they might not be able to bring one to another, let's say. Have you ever faced this?
Always. It takes so much hard work and introspection to actually share your story in an impactful way. And you reiterate as you go on your journey, and you learn, and you notice when you're feeling off balance. Like a few days ago, I had a talk somewhere and I was completely off, completely. You feel it, right? But it takes practice, and I think the more people do it, the better it is.
But how long, let's say, unpacking, let's say, or bringing or helping people to get on a certain, let's say, media marketing, personal branding journey. So what does it require? So from a coaching perspective, so how many meetings, 3-month subscription? So what can people do straight away after listening to you, practically, what can they do to start working on that?
So if they want to start working on that, we would start with a 3 months individual coaching program, where we look at, first and foremost, what is your purpose? We articulate the why, how, and what very clearly.
How many sessions do you need to get that
So
done?
the purpose discovery journey is sorted separately, and it's a 4-hour process, 3 to 4 hour process. It's very in-depth. And then after you walk away from the 4 hours, you start your 3 months. And when you start your 3 months, we go through everything. Who is your niche audience? What do they need? What kind of language do they speak? What are their pain points? What are all the different channels that you could target with them with? You know, if you're selling cat food, you're not going to be selling cat food in a business conference, right? So being very clear about your niche audience and the channels where they're present, so that you could target them using the channels that resonate with them, is very important. We do stakeholder engagement mapping. We do executive presence, because that's super important with personal branding. You want to walk the talk. If you're a CEO, you want to act like a CEO. So we do executive branding as well. So these are some of the topics. But a lot of times when you are coaching someone, they are in the driver's seat. It's their agenda. So if they come to a coaching session and they want to talk about something like a limiting belief, a lot of times, for example, coaches who want to do podcasting or marketing, or whoever wants to do that, they have a limiting belief. They believe that, for example, selling themselves or being visible out there is a taboo. So there, you're not going there teaching them how to do marketing. You're working with them on their limiting belief, and you're transforming that limiting belief and showcasing that, you know, you've got a gift. You're here for a reason in this world. Use that gift, and you're putting that gift in service of humanity when you are podcasting and creating your personal brand, because you're sharing that beautiful gift that you have in this world with the world for their service. And there you change the dynamic. It's no longer, I'm no longer selling. I'm actually helping other people and who need what I have to offer.
I really like the message about the limiting belief, because I think, pushing a series of marketing or a series of producing podcasts, you can do it as much as you want, but it's probably not helping if a person has got some kind of limiting belief that it's not for him or it's not for the business. Well, do you agree that it might not be for everyone, though?
It might not be for people who don't want to invest in it, and who don't want to invest in it financially, emotionally, time-wise. This is a journey that takes time, that requires consistency, that requires presence, that requires energy. And so, it is for everyone, because I believe everyone has a story to tell, and that story deserves to be told. However, not everyone is willing to invest the time, energy, and money into this. And if they're not ready to do that, then it's not the right thing for them. And the worst thing you can do is start and stop, start and stop, start and stop.
Interesting. No, I think we could continue that conversation more and more, because there's so much behind it. But I'm glad we had a chance to chat. It's interesting to know that there's a platform that can help entrepreneurs, and you mentioned corporates as well.
Yes.
To go on a journey of the purpose and purpose discovery, and then continue towards probably doing a much more efficient and much more qualified kind of services, works, products, and probably also jobs as well from the corporate system perspective.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a big mission. And thank you very much for stopping by. Good luck with your the rest of the day at STEP. And
thank you.
Is there anything that you would like to add to STEP conference for the next year? Any feedback?
I think it's been fantastic. I love the setup. I love the energy. I think they've done a fantastic job. And I think I love so much that you have that live and you're doing these interviews. So that's wonderful. Yeah,
so it's actually quite active, and people do, as much as they tend to be a little bit more reluctant in their usual life, but when it comes to events like STEP, people do like to be on the camera and do like to get some kind of interview format in place, which I like a lot.
It's lovely. You're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so let's bring more people to interviews, right?
I will make sure to refer you left, right, and center.
Yeah, lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lubna. Thanks.
All right.